Good morning, everybody. Thought I would try to get this done a little earlier today. I need to get some things done around the office here. So I will try to talk quick. I've got a couple of things. First is Veterans Day is coming up, November 11th. And I have put a message on Telegram just a few minutes ago to see if anybody could get us a list of all the veterans or J6ers that are veterans. I know it would mean so much to them to get cards, letters, and things. Of course, some of them can't get cards. So letters, anything acknowledging them as veterans and honoring them on that day particularly. So I'll keep you posted on that, but be thinking about that. And we'll try to find out too which facilities will allow cards and which won't. So I'll check on that as well. The other thing is some contacts. We definitely need to continue calling the marshal's office, and we've also got contact information for Mayor Bowser, the Department of Corrections, I think, and Assistant Warden Michelle Jones. I'm not going to read those off. I will put them in the description. So we'll have those on there. A couple of other things. I know we've contacted Fox News, and we really don't have a whole tremendous amount of faith in them anymore, but it's worth a shot. You know, it can't hurt to just keep pounding them with this. And so I found actually a toll-free number that's a tip line. So maybe if we bombard that tip line, they'll get the idea. So I'll put that in the description too, but it's 1-888-369-4762, and that's the Fox News tip line. Someone else I thought about last week was Candace Owens. And so I found a email address for her, and again, all this is going to be in the description. info@CandaceOwens.com. She is also on Facebook, and you could send her a message on her page. I went to it. It does have the messaging little icon or whatever. I couldn't find her on Truth Social or get her. That doesn't mean she's not there. I just couldn't find her. Didn't really know how to look very well. So we definitely need to continue calling, emailing, doing everything we can. Caroline, who is at the vigils, I think pretty much every night, is working on a petition. I think it's supposed to be up on the A4Justice website. I think it's aforjustice.org. And so we need to be sure, and she's working on a packet of letters and things that we can print out and use to tell people a little more about all of this, what's going on. So, and if Caroline, if you see this, I think you said Susan last night talking about the letter. I think you may have meant me, the letter that I wrote a couple of weeks ago. You are more than welcome to use anything that I put out there. Please, you're doing a wonderful job, and so you're welcome to use that. I don't know how to get in touch with Caroline, so if she doesn't see this, if somebody else will tell her that it's fine to use that, and thank her for what she's doing. We've got a lot of really good people doing really good stuff. And so that actually kind of brings me to something else. A little bit of a devotion, I guess, Bible study or something. I've been reading, actually I listen to the chronological Bible in the mornings, and it's a daily thing, so I'm going through it in a year. And it's really neat. You get to hear things as they happen. You know, our Bible is not in the order that it happened. So it's really neat to see that. And so I'm in like 1 Samuel and in Ruth. I just got through with Ruth the other day, and I was reading about it, and I'm not going to go into all of it. You can read Ruth is actually a very short book, so you can go read it if you want to. Great story. But I was reading about where Boaz, who has agreed to marry her, he is one of her kinsman redeemers. But there is someone closer. And so he has to go and offer her to that other person. I am so glad I didn't live back then, y'all. I don't know. God, I love you, but I thank you for not making me live back then. So, particularly not with this personality. It would have been bad. So, anyway. So, Boaz goes, and so he offers this land to the other kinsman redeemer, and he says, okay, the guy says, okay, I'll buy the land. And so then Boaz says, on the day you buy the land from Naomi and from Ruth the Moabites, you acquire the dead man's widow in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property. At this, the kinsman redeemer said, then I cannot redeem it because I might endanger my own estate. You redeem it yourself. I cannot do it. And that just made me think, how often do we shy away from being a part of something, helping somebody, because it's going to cost us a little more than we thought? It's not as simple as going and taking them some food or mowing their yard and being done with it. When you start getting involved with people emotionally and spiritually, sometimes it can get a little messy. It takes a little longer than a day or so, but it's what we're supposed to do. And that story just reminded me of that, how often we do that. And I do it. I try really hard not to, because I have been that high maintenance, suck the life out of you person before. And people were wonderful to me. Some were and some weren't. But the ones who were, I'm so grateful for them. And so I want to be that way to other people because I know what it feels like to not have that. So anyway, if you will, in your life, if you will stop and think when you're dealing with people, make sure you're not just brushing people off because they might take a little more effort. I have a feeling this group, though, is really good about taking care of people because you've all just dove in head first with this J6 thing and with these men and women. You're writing letters. You're putting your home addresses out there, which some people would never do. You are, you're doing it. You're giving money, which is a real sacrifice for a lot of people. You're doing what you can to take care of people, and that's so honorable, so awesome for you to do that. And then just one other thing that over on into Samuel, this was in my reading for today, and it's when the Israelites are begging Samuel for a king. They didn't have a king. They'd had judges up to this point. They had not had a king. And they wanted a king like all the other nations or whatever around them, all the other groups. So Samuel was really upset by this, and so he prayed to the Lord. And the Lord told him, listen to all that the people are saying to you. It is not you they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king, as they have done from the day I brought them up out of Egypt until this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so they are doing to you. And I read something else the other day that made me, just kind of remind me of that. How often did the Israelites receive miracles from the Lord? Miracle after miracle after miracle from the Lord. And they would repent and they would serve him and praise him, and then before you know it, a couple of chapters later, which could have been a number of years, but for us it seems like not very long at all because it's just a couple of chapters, they're serving other gods again. They're building idols to other gods and stuff. And so my concern is that when all this is over, and it's going to be, I believe that, my concern is that any of us here on the outside and the men and women who have been in prison, that we don't lose sight of what the Lord has done. He's already done so many wonderful things in bringing this group together to encourage the prisoners, to encourage one another, to be a family to each other, to care about each other. And so we need to be really careful when all this is over with that we don't forget that we don't forget what all the Lord's done. And particularly the prisoners, I don't want them to get out and people go, oh, they just had jailhouse religion. I told somebody the other day, I don't care where you got your religion, or better, your Jesus. I don't care where you got him, you just keep him. So if it was the jail or church or school or whatever, as long as you keep him, I'm good with that. So I really hope that there's some discipleship going on in there. I don't have any way to know other than, writing them some. So maybe encourage them to be discipling one another and helping to strengthen one another. I think they'll probably, they've got quite a bond, and I'm sure they're going to stay in touch and hopefully can hold each other accountable. But all of us too. I don't want us to, when all this is over with, everybody goes their separate ways and we never talk to each other again, and we go back to whatever our, I don't want to say our other gods. That's not the right word at all. But we go back to something else, or we pick up the next cause or whatever. I want us to stay faithful to the Lord and faithful to each other. Now, we can't stay in touch with every single person on the chat or whatever, but hopefully you've kind of made some connections with some people that you'll be able to stay in touch with, and again, hold each other accountable, encourage one another, pray for one another. It's so important, and I know God will honor that. So just anyway, that's all. Sorry if that sounded preachy. I can preach with the best of them. When I was young, I wanted to be a preacher, but I was a Baptist, and Baptists don't have women preachers. So now I just get up on my soapbox every now and then. So anyway, and if you're wondering what my shirt says, I know it's backwards for y'all, but it says, if God can make a bug's butt light up, think what he can do for you. And this is like one of my favorite shirts. I just love that. If God can make a bug's butt light up, think what he can do for you. It has the fireflies on it. So just think about that, If he has that much attention to detail, to do something like that, to thrill us when we were kids, and even now as adults, I love seeing lightning bugs and fireflies, whatever. So he cares about us. He cares about making us happy and making us joyful and giving us even just the little pleasures in life. So thank him for that. And I thank him for all of you. And I thank him for what he's going to do. I believe when God delivers these men and women, it's going to be in a time and in a way where only he can be glorified and not us. We can't take the credit for it. Only he can be glorified in it. And so we're just waiting on that, Lord. So thank you. If you've made it this far, God bless you. And we will talk later, probably tomorrow. Bye.